Let's go in 3, 2, 1. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Map Battle League show. I'm your host, Carp, and I'm joined today by Mr. Blue
Hello?
and Druv.
Hello, everyone.
Well, we've got another interesting week to go over, so let's just jump straight into it with Division 1 over here. We start off with Blinky versus Boxer. Like I mentioned last week, probably one of the most anticipated matchups of the division, and it has ended in a draw.
Yeah, not too much of a surprise in my opinion. It is indeed more or less the top match that we were having this season in the whole division. But yeah, both of the players had a map where they were expected to win. Yeah, and they did. So yeah, in the end, not a very exciting match between them, but still, yeah, a draw is a draw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, and some pretty large margins there, so they definitely
Hmm.
probably tried at least to play to their opponent's weaknesses as well, and it definitely paid off.
Yeah, because I know that Blinky knows Bengali, and yeah, Boxa has already played on this map a few times, so he
Ooh.
knows that one as well. And there we go. You can see the differences straight away.
Drew, what had you put your money on? Did you see it as a draw?
Yeah, I would probably say a draw because, both of them are really good players. And yeah, I'll probably say it's gonna be a draw.
Okay, then. Next up, we've got my match. I tied against Sheldon Wong, although overall he had much better scores. He wins in Hong Kong, and I did pretty barely by like 3,000 points in American Samoa.
Yeah, I think that the main issue there were the trackers, right? That were
Uh-huh.
the hard rounds, I think, in American Samoa.
Yes. I
Right, and yeah.
actually, one of the tracker rounds was something I got in practice, so like I knew that instantly. But uh yeah, I think that's definitely the main problem with American Samoa, and I think that's what one of the map makers had like warned us about in the Discord.
Oh,
Yeah, so it was like normally we try to avoid trackers, obviously, but
Mm-hmm.
I guess there were too many
Yeah.
like that were popping up. So in the end, it was decided that yeah, we will have to to simply accept the seat with trackers. But yeah, that is something that we hopefully can avoid in the future by the new way of creating the seats that we do now.
Okay.
And yeah, I think in Hong Kong, I mean Hong Kong is not that easy. But if you maybe have not practiced enough, it's going to be very difficult to do it.
Yeah, it was mostly up to like the sort of towns that are further out from the main city that give you trouble. Uh,
yeah, especially in Hong Kong.
hmm. Well, next up we've got Solo Sensei versus Barry Fishy Bear. Barry gets the win here, but they do tie on the Hibiscus Coast, where Solo Sensei does pick up a bonus point. So that's like one of the close games this week.
Yeah, Barry was much quicker though on both maps. So even if he would have not, if both maps would have ended in a draw, he would still be the winner in that case. So yeah, maybe a bit unlucky here for Solo Sensei. The only points that he lost was actually in one round, and maybe a little bit of a rushy or maybe an unlucky pinpoint for him there. But as I said, like even if it was a 25k for both maps, then Barry would have been the quicker on both maps and he would have won the match anyway.
Now, I was just gonna say, like, these maps were actually pretty kind of competitive because, the Chilliwack map was, I mean, pretty pinpointable in most of the rounds without having to, travel for that long. And the Hibiscus Coast was, I mean, they both performed really well. So yeah, I mean, they both were, pretty good map. That's all I wanted to
Mm,
say.
no, absolutely,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, and actually Barry now with the 2 perfect scores. Does he have top spot in the weekly order for next
Uh,
week?
He
yeah,
probably.
I think so. Yeah,
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he
I
does.
think he was the only one. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Next up, we've got Xander versus Moist Flubber, another tie over there. But Xander really did not take too well to Ulaanbaatar. Who would have guessed?
Yeah, Xander did use the advantage of the Guatemala round in Reddit League, so that's why or that's how he actually got that win in Guatemala. But then Ulaanbaatar is indeed the problem here for him. So and Moyes definitely did something with that in a good way, and therefore he got the win there, and therefore a draw altogether.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I mentioned this last week, but Ulaanbaatar, unless you're in that central square, you're not finding anything.
Oh, it's very
Oh
difficult.
no.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you've played any amount of it. Yeah, that's like the only thing you'll notice. Next up, we've got Orpheus versus Kodiak. Kodiak's last game, unfortunately, as he is replaced by Scrypro, as we'll see later. But he does take a draw. Actually, both of them winning on their opponent's maps here. Kodiak with the win in
Yeah,
Asturias. Orpheus.
indeed, that's always funny to see. Indeed.
Yeah.
Yeah, like there was one map was a non-moving map, and that was the improved world. And there was one round where Kodiak guessed Brazil, whereas it was Mexico. Otherwise, it would have been a very close match there as well. And then Orpheus took the win in. No, sorry, Kodiak took the win in Astoria.
Yeah. Now we've got Shumi with a second Nigerian map in a row, this time urban locations. And he's up against Soviet Spy. Both of them won on their respective maps for another draw.
I would say not a surprise. He definitely knows his Nigerian way around. Like he knows his way around in Nigeria, and Soviet Spy is generally good in no moving matches. So yeah, I'm not surprised with the draw here.
I did learn that the hard way the week before.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was not a good week for me. But I think we are seeing in this division, people are making a habit out of drawing. Just everyone's so close together, so we don't see too many wins. However, the last match over here is a win for Paulinho against M the Baseman. Paulinho picks up 1 perfect score, but Baseman actually gets a bonus point in Belgium.
He does indeed. Paulinho. He's off to a very, very good start this season. High scores all over the place. And in this case, indeed, Baseman picks up a bonus point for his round in Belgium. He had a not so good pinpoint in Brussels there. That cost him the 25k. And in the other map, it was a Ukrainian highway close to Donetsk, and he
Oh
managed to go for another highway somewhere a bit further south, I think. So yeah.
yeah, those are always very tricky to get off of.
Yeah. Ukraine hasn't been too kind to most of us, I think.
Yeah.
But as we'll see on the tables, Paulinho's win does propel him back up to first spot, moving Boxer down.
2 points clear now.
Yeah, yeah. He could be a title challenger for Boxer. As
No,
we'll
yeah,
see.
absolutely. In this kind of form, and then indeed profiting from the others having a draw, yeah, then you can see the difference and you can make the difference as well.
Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, the bottom half of the table, not much movement. Even in the middle, the only real movement was Barry jumping up to fifth spot. It did move a few people down, but
He climbed up like 4 positions, I think.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's really good.
Oh,
And here we can indeed see Scrapero taking over from Kodiak. Kodiak had some uh, personal real life things to do instead of GeoGuessr at the moment, and therefore he decided to stop from the to withdraw from the tournament. And Scrapero is actually a teammate of his in another competition, and he asked him if he could take over, and he said yes. So here we have him.
Yeah, well, uh, all the best to Scriper. He's got some shoes to fill here.
Yeah, let's see if he can keep up
yeah, for
with
sure.
staying in this position at least.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Uh, well, next week, here are the fixtures we've got. First up, we've got M the Baseman, up against Scriper. Basemans on Intersection Guesser and Scrappers in Asia.
Yeah, hard to tell what's going to be with this match because we don't really know Scrapero that much. So I cannot really tell you how good he is and what to expect from him. As I said, like I know him from another competition, but that's more like a team competition. And yeah, this could potentially be maybe the first win of M the Basement this season.
Well, let's see if he can get that. Drew, who are you placing your money on for this game?
Um, I mean, there's an intersection guesser map and an Asia map, so I would probably say maybe the Bassman might get this one.
Okay then. Next up, we've got Shumi going for another urban Nigeria round. This one specifically in Lekki, I think is how you say it. And going up against Sheldon Wong with the Great Plains, which the Great Plains are in the US, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So
Yeah, those are the middle
that would be a
states.
home map for him.
Home map against home map. So yeah, I'm expecting a draw in this match.
So am I.
Yeah, probably a draw.
Hmm. Next, we've got Xander with 5 urban locations in Lesotho. And Barry has also gone for an urban map, but this one with Florianopolis in
Yeah.
Brazil. And
This could be a good matchup to be honest.
Yeah,
We have
yeah,
two
both
players.
map.
Yeah, go on.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, I was just gonna say like both of these are like really interesting maps, like 5 urban locations in a pretty rural country and a not
Hmm.
so big city in Brazil, Florianopolis. So this might be a really interesting matchup.
And they're both two players that are um, really training a lot for this kind of competitions, and I'm expecting them to do quite well on these kind of maps.
yeah, honestly couldn't tell you which way that's gonna go, but that's one of the exciting matches to look out for next week. Next up, we've got Paulinho with Hungary going up against Solar Sensei with Greater Carolina. I know Paulinho's like part Hungarian or something, so I guess that's sort of a home map for him. Same thing you could probably say for Solar Sensei with an American map. So yeah.
Yeah, and even if he is not Hungarian partially, then at least he is living close to it and
Yeah.
as well.
Mhm.
So yeah, that is also some match where I am expecting a draw, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. And I think we're going to see a lot of. I mean, we've already seen a lot of draws in this division, and
Yeah,
that's just gonna make that even more the case.
Yeah, not only in this division, but I mean like it makes sense that the draws happen, and in a division like this where people are really able to match up with each other's abilities, it is definitely likely that there is a draw, but there's still also room for upsets and to change things in the standings really
yeah,
quickly.
Yeah.
Because
exactly.
one win can make a big difference here.
Yeah, and I feel like with these two maps, they might be like pretty close too on both of the maps because Hungary and Carolinas are like pretty well marked. So if you're not more familiar with either of the regions, you have like a lot of signs to go off of. So I think it's
True.
gonna be a
Yeah.
really close game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Well, next up we've got Blinky going with Curves of the World, and he's up against Soviet Spy with an official extraordinary world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Blinky, sorry.
Soviet is a player who does favor no moving maps, so that is definitely something that, yeah, a good reason for him to go with that. But Blinky is not a pushover when it comes to no moving. So I'm still thinking that maybe Blinky will take this, to be honest.
Hmm. Uh, Curves of the World was a random pick for him. Uh,
Oh,
yeah.
True. I think I'm not sure because I have not spoken to him about it, but I think that like when Blinky is high in the list of the weekly order, he will just send one or two maps that he likes to play. But I think that whenever he is a bit lower in the rankings, that he just goes randomly with whatever he gets, and maybe sees that as a challenge as well.
Yeah.
yeah, this could be a challenge because it's a pretty diverse map.
Mm-hmm. And we did see some players having trouble with it in previous weeks. So
Oh yeah,
Yes,
that's
yes,
true.
absolutely.
we'll have to see how Blinky takes to it. Next, we have Orpheus going for Spain, which he does seem to enjoy quite a bit. And I'm his opponent. I have gone for Kimberly for. I don't know why I picked it. I think it's just because it was an urban map, but it's like 10th on my list.
Um,
So,
oh,
while Spain was Orpheus's first pick, so that didn't
oh,
go too well for me.
this could be really interesting now.
Yeah. Uh,
Yeah, I mean, like Spain is a playable country, I would say. So that's definitely
Mhm,
something that can go either way. And I guess a map like urban South African city
mhm.
um, should be trainable. So
Yeah,
when it
mhm.
comes to that, I would say that it can go either way. But also knowing Orpheus and the way he has been playing in the last couple of months in Reddit League and also here already, I have to favor him.
Yeah. Uh, I, I do hope I can perform a little better in Spain, given that we just had it on Formula G. Um, but
yeah, that's
I
surely
don't know
gonna
how much
help
that's gonna
you.
help me. Uh,
Uh,
Definitely a tough match. I'll have to fight to keep even a draw maybe. But we'll see. Uh,
Yeah, good luck with that one.
Thanks.
yeah,
Uh, and last we've got Boxer going for 5 urban locations in San Marino. And his opponent Moist Flubber has gone for the Americas. Just a simple home map there.
mm.
Yeah, home map could be.
Or
Is
actually, Americas would be both north and south, right? So maybe
Yeah,
not.
it
including, yeah,
includes both the continents, so it
yeah,
might be a pretty difficult map.
Yeah, okay.
yeah, yeah.
Uh,
I mean, like Moist Flubber is not a bad player at all, but I definitely have to go for Boxa here. Boxa on small maps like San Marino is extremely good. Um, he does them quick and he does them accurate.
mhm.
So
Mhm.
I'm not expecting him to fail there. And America's, yeah, um, I'm expecting him to do quite okay on that one as well. And um, Moist might be able to be close to Boxa there, but I'm not sure if he can actually keep up with him there.
Yeah, I think if there's like rounds in the US or Canada, that could give Moist Flubber an advantage. Um, but um, maybe if it's South
Yeah,
America,
but
then it's
yeah, that's true. And I gotta say, like, it's pretty much I think one of the most diverse maps we had right now. Like a city state and like a whole continent. I mean, two continents technically. So it's really interesting to see like who's gonna take the cake home.
yeah. Well, let's move on to Division 2. And here we see the first map itself. Diesel versus Trichter. Does end it with a win for Diesel, but they did both get perfect scores on the Geodetective World. and Trickster takes home a bonus point.
Yeah, as we said before, like the Geodetective world is a map that is very playable. There's like a lot of hints that you have in your now moving for 3 minutes, so it's definitely possible to get a 25k on those kind of maps. And then Diesel taking it at an NMPZ map against Trickster, who has been praised for being good at that kind of map. So I would say that's a very good job from Diesel here.
Yeah, I think Trickster has been going for a lot of these non-moving maps, so sort of upsetting him at his own game.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, next up we've got Brian versus Atomo. Brian does take home the win with a perfect score in Sydney, which was Sotoma's map of choice. Sotoma got close, but I'm guessing one bad round.
Yeah, I think he did a really good job there. To be honest, that not good enough, unfortunately for him. And then when it comes to the Civilization Alphabet F map, he was in the right area pretty much all the time, but for some reason he was not able to find a city with an F in that area. So I'm not really sure how that happened. I don't think Sotomo records his matches for this competition, so cannot really tell. But it would be interesting to know what happened there.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, next up we've got Medone versus Wurdock, which does end in a draw. Again, it's funny to see, but they get wins on the opponent's map. But Medone does take home a bonus point on their map of choice, which is Western Europe. I don't think he can be too disappointed with that performance there.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
I mean, like it's nice to see that people can actually also lose the matches that they have chosen, or the maps that they have chosen, and it shows that it's not always given fact that if you choose something that you're going to win at it. And it has happened now already quite sometimes that people actually have a draw and then they win the opposite map. So that is always a nice thing to see, I would say. The bonus point here makes sense because it was a very close match either way. Actually, I would say that maybe Wardock is a bit unlucky not to pick up a bonus point here himself. Even though that is definitely more than 1,000 points, of course, there, but it's still kind of close as well. So
and especially in a city like, Francistown and like in a rural
yeah, I would
Botswana.
say
So
so.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And especially on urban maps, it can be harder to pick up bonus points given how many points you lose just for maybe even being a block away.
Oh yeah,
Oh, I could
absolutely.
agree.
Yeah. So, that's also something that I haven't thought about, picking an urban map could make it harder to um, get a bonus point or even to give a bonus point to opponent if they also do well. Well, next up we've got Danny Blondes versus WTF. It does end in a draw. They both tied in San Marino. Pretty sure we could have expected that. But Danny Blondes does get the win there on distance.
Since yeah, indeed.
But WTF does take home a bonus point.
Yeah, because in Croatia he is probably not going to lose,
Yeah.
and he did not
Oh
do that
no.
here as well. So yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Danny Blondes did come close to a bonus point, just maybe like
He
170
did
points
absolutely. Yeah.
away.
Yeah, just 100 points, and he like 150, and he would have got the bonus point.
Yeah. Next, we've got Pierre with a perfect score in Belgium, and he picks up the win against Schluty, who did put up an admirable fight in Belgium, but does still end up more than 1,800 points
Yeah.
below.
Now Sluddy is a very good player that we have seen throughout the years already in other competitions as well. for some reason he doesn't have it yet in this competition, and yeah, Pierre actually sort of takes it quite easily, to be honest. So yeah, good job to him.
Yeah. Next up, we've got Ollie versus Hexalt, and Hexalt picks up an easy win, a perfect score in Cork, and a win by what, 6,000 points on a diverse world.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised by this result. Not that I am surprised that Hexalt is winning it, but I mean, Ollie has been showing before that he is actually very good at city maps. So for some reason, he did not manage to find one or two of the rounds here, and also on a diverse world, moving only 16k is maybe not too much. So I'm not really sure what happened there with Ollie, but yeah, a little bit of a surprise for me.
Yeah, true, true.
Well, last up here, we've got Gabriel versus Dryfuck Punked. Gabriel picks up the win here as well. Another fairly easy win.
Yeah,
For
indeed. Maybe also sort of surprising because Dreyfus did start off really well in the season, but Gabriel did as well, of course. And I don't know what Dreyfus' link is with Catanzaro, but he chose this map as his city, and he actually created this map as well, even though it's not a polygon map, but like a map with like just like almost every possible location within the city. So yeah, I don't know what happened there for him, but Gabriel takes the win and goes top of the table, I think.
Yeah, that's a little surprising. Like he kind of didn't do that well in his own city, and but that's a really we gotta say that that's a really impressive score in Senegal by Gabriel there.
yeah,
Yes, absolutely.
yeah, for sure. And with that, we see three of the Frenchmen taking home wins this week, and fairly easy between the three of them. And as for the table, that puts Gabriel and Hexalt up at the top of the table, along with Diesel. Trichter's loss drops him from the top of the table, or um,
Uh,
yeah,
I'm not sure. I
I,
think he was there. Yeah, yeah, could be.
yeah, I think he was top of the table, and that drops him down into fourth. Um, yeah, Zotomo and Shuri at the bottom, no movement between them. Uh,
Well, wasn't Drijvapunkt first? I think Drijvapunkt was
oh,
first, and he dropped from 1 to 8 actually.
oh yeah, that would be it.
Oh,
Trickter dropped just one spot from third, but Punk's loss dropped him from first to eighth. Yeah.
Yeah, that's quite a big drop indeed in 1 week.
Mm.
Well, it's still early season, obviously, but still that's quite visible. And now Gabriel and Hexalt are actually 2 points clear from the rest as well, which is quite interesting to see.
Mm. Yeah, but I think Punk's drop is also sort of because everyone's really close in this division. We can see
Yeah.
third through seventh all on 7 points, and all the way down to 10th they're only separated by 2 points.
oh,
Yeah. In any case, let's move on to the fixtures for week 5. We have Medone versus Trichter. Medone's gone for Scenic, Impossible Photospheres. That was his first pick. And Trichter, on the other hand, has gone for an NPC World.
Yeah,
After
that's oh, yeah, go on.
like after probably disappointing NPC round last week, he'll be hoping to turn that around.
Yeah, but he apparently he still feels comfortable in doing that sort of maps. So this is going to be an interesting one because they're both NMPZ as well. So yeah, this will be an interesting battle between the two of them. And
yeah,
yeah, I
for
don't know,
sure.
can go either way.
Yeah, it could. Like if you give like an NPC map to one of the one of the best players in the division, I mean, I don't know what the results would be time around.
Yeah. Next up, we've got Pierre on A Still World, non-moving, and he's up against Danny Blondes on the Skelde River. I think is how you say it, but yeah. Um, what do you think about that matchup, Drew?
Drew,
Mm,
what do you say?
okay, I have played a couple of still balls, but I have no clue about the Skelter River, so um, I can't be like so sure, but I would probably say Pierre might take a win there.
I would say I agree with that. Still World is also no moving, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, that is definitely in his favor, I would say, and he can also do quite well on moving maps. The river is also partially in his country, so yeah, I'm favoring Pierre here as well.
Mhm.
Hmm. Well, next up we've got Drive-Up going for another Italian map. This time in Toronto. Not.
Wait,
I
did someone say Toronto?
I Tell- I just realized how close it sounds to Toronto, but this is Toronto with like A's in it. Uh,
Uh,
and Diesel, the opponent, has gone for an official uncommon world. This one is moving.
No, it should
Uh,
be no more.
okay, it's
yeah,
listed
it
as
doesn't
moving on the
say.
sheet, so yeah.
Oh, okay. In that case, I made a mistake, I
Mm-hmm.
guess. But
Okay, non-moving.
uh,
Cool.
it should be no moving, or maybe even NPZ, but I
Okay.
do not know out of my head. Either way, yeah, indeed, interesting to see that he is going to go for a second Italian city in 2 weeks, whereas he actually did not do too well in the other one. Maybe he has been on holidays in this area a lot. I don't know. Um,
Mhm.
yeah, looking forward to see what that's going to bring. Um, I guess I'm gonna go for Diesel here.
Hmm. Uh,
Oh,
yeah, this is non-moving. It's not an NPC, so
Right.
oh,
Okay.
that's not moving. Okay, that's not moving.
yeah. Um,
Oh.
but yeah, I think Toronto and Catanzaro are in the same sort of area, so
Mhm.
yeah,
So maybe he has been there as well. I don't know.
yeah. Uh,
Probably, yeah. Yeah.
well, next up we've got Zotomer going with East Asia. Um, not Japan as we can see next, but in East Asia, and Ollie has gone for Singapore, which might also feature on the former map.
True. Yeah. Singapore can appear in the other map as well as Japan can appear there.
Hmm.
So yeah. So Tomo is definitely hoping for that, I guess, and then see what he can do there. And Singapore is obviously a very pinpointable yeah, country, city, whatever you want to call it. And Oli is good at that sort of maps. So yeah, maybe a draw for this one.
Hmm. Yeah, well, Singapore can be either, but yeah, I believe they both again have some of the practice from Reddit League, although it must be
Yeah,
fading
yeah,
away at this point.
but
Mhm.
what I know is
True.
that Oli is a bit more fast than Sotomo, because Sotomo takes a lot of time also for pinpointing in general.
Yeah.
Oh, true, true. Yeah, I'm probably gonna predict a draw here too, because Singapore, I probably will think Olia will take Singapore home, and it's sort of more like I'm pretty certain he's gonna win on the East Asia round for some reason.
Yeah, well, that's not a bad guess to make. Next up, we've got Hexalt with Japan. Probably the map Zotomo would have been more comfortable with, but maybe Hexalt was just higher on the list. And he's up against Burdock with 5 cities of his choice, and he has uh, what did he pick?
He picked four French cities and an Italian city.
Oh, right. I
He
I
got
believe Venice.
Venice,
Yeah.
Bordeaux, Marseille, Saint Etienne, Toulouse, I think so, something like
Mm-hmm.
that. And then indeed against Hexalt, so French Derby mostly taking place in France, and then Japan. And I'm not. I think that Verdok is not so good in Japan, but I don't really know how well Hexalt knows Japan, but apparently well enough to go for it. So yeah, I'm expecting him to take that one, and then maybe wear the other one.
Yeah.
Even though that it's yeah in France, but he took also Venice for a reason, I guess. So yeah, let's go for a draw here as well.
Yeah, well, this could probably be another case of where Hexalt maybe isn't as great at Japan, but knows that Verdok isn't, and decided to play to the weaknesses instead of the strengths. Well, next up we've got WTF with 5 urban locations in Serbia. Gabriel has gone for another urban map, but this one with Oshawa in Ontario.
Mhm.
Druv, uh,
Um, I actually don't really know, like WTF and Gabrielle. I don't know how good they are in, these kind of maps. But I'll probably say, Serbia might be a bit tricky in terms of, pinpointing. But I mean, Oshawa is like a really tiny city. It's just a satellite city of Toronto. And you just if you know a couple street, if you practice a couple street, you probably will get 25Ks without, moving even. I would say it could be pretty interesting to see. I think it's gonna be whoever gets the Serbia round, right? It gets the whole game there.
Yeah, I agree with that. And the thing is that the fact that WTF is from Croatia, I do give him the favor there, and therefore this might actually be an upset because Gabriel is currently the number 1 in the league. So this could be technically be an upset in the league here.
hmm. Well, last up we've got Schluty going with Cucuta in Colombia, and he's up against Brian with one of the Civilization Alphabet maps.
Yeah,
Oh.
Sluddy's form, as we said discussed earlier, is not that good right now. So I mean, like this city definitely will be a city that you would need to train, and the other one is just basically a world map. So yeah, I guess I'm gonna go for Brian here.
Hmm.
Mm.
Well, let's move on to Division 3 now. First up we have Fireban defeating Plucky, which um, is a bit of an upset there. But actually a pretty hefty win in Africa and a fairly close game in Slovakia for them, although not very high scoring.
Yeah, yeah, I wouldn't call it an upset, but because we know that Faraban is a very good player as well.
Mm.
But indeed, when it comes to experience, I would say that Pookie would be maybe slightly the favorite here. Um, I guess
Mm.
like his score in Africa is quite low. I mean, the other map in Slovakia, they both scored low, so I guess that was just very hard to see. But Pookie scoring only 20k in Africa, then there must have been a clear mistake there. I have not really checked what the mistake was, to be honest, but um, yeah, that seems to be the case here.
Yeah. Well, next up we've got Teaser versus Seppo, both of them going for urban maps. And it does end in a draw. Seppo gets the win on time
Time, yeah,
in Quetzaltenango. And Teaser gets a fairly narrow win, just 400
Oh,
points in
yeah.
Peter Maritzburg. But he does take home a bonus point with the perfect score in Quetzaltenango. So, not a shabby performance there.
Yeah, again, the South African map was pretty close to. He could have got what's the difference? Like about 400 points. He could have got another uh point on himself, bonus point.
yeah, no, absolutely. This is maybe a little bit unlucky for Seppo here, not to get that bonus point. Um, but yeah, indeed, a good job from Teaser, I would say.
Yeah. Well, next up we have Armand with another South African city. Does get the perfect score there and the win overall against Seolfer, who doesn't do well at all in Colombia. That's gonna be a match
Yeah,
he.
I'm really interesting of looking at the scores already. Like, what happened there?
Uh, it for me it's clear that Armand trained it better. Yeah.
Uh,
Colombia is rather hard.
yeah, it could be really hard.
Yeah, but the thing is, Colombia was Seolfer's first pick.
Yeah.
Oh,
So sometimes I'm also not really sure, like when people pick something and then they come up with a score like this in the competition. I don't really know how that how that can happen, but yeah, maybe the people that are doing that they can explain it a little bit later on, because I'm also curious to find out like why would you pick a map if you know that you're not gonna score well.
Hmm.
yeah, that's the thing to consider at picking the maps.
Yeah, well, next up we have Jake with his usual map, an official uncommon world. Gets the win there, as you'd expect, but Lunacy isn't far off and does get a perfect score in Polynesia, and that's gonna end in a
You,
draw.
you go over that really quickly, but I watched the video of Lunacy, and he actually did a really good job on that map, and he technically could have actually beaten Jake on
Oh,
his map. So um,
Oh,
no, he did a really good job, and yeah, with a little bit of luck, he would have taken it to be honest. So Jake got away with it this time.
yeah.
mhm.
Yeah, just a few hundred more points, maybe a slightly better guess, and could be a win or even just a bonus point, both of which would have helped.
Yeah, for sure.
Next up, we have Nakira versus Ottawa, a French derby here, and Nakira takes the win with pretty decisive wins both in Leiria and in Sonora.
Yeah, I would say this is the first convincing performance from Nakiro this season in this competition, and it's about time, I would say,
Mm-hmm.
because we know that he is a good player, and yeah, he has been not showing that until now. Maybe sometimes a bit unlucky, but yeah, this is the first time that we can see him do well, and yeah,
Mhm.
that will help him in the rankings as well.
Yeah, it was a really good game by Nakiro there, like in Sonora, the Mexican state, and the Portuguese district. He pretty much got a perfect score there in the Portuguese win,
Yeah,
and not so far away in the state of Sonora.
Mm-hmm. Well, next up we have the 59 soundbite against Levan Greb. Both of them getting wins on their own matches. Uh,
yeah, some difference as well. So
no surprise
yeah,
here.
yeah, no surprise. I mean, like maybe a surprise because like the maps are not straightforward, but yeah, they won the maps that they chose, and they did really well on both of them. So
Yeah. Actually, um, now that I look back at this, North Macedonia was still a random pick for Levan Greb. So, um,
okay, well then
so
in that case it was even better for him.
yeah,
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
but
he
historic
did
challenge is
really
like
good.
also not like the most common map to take, and he did a really good job on that one to be honest. So
yeah. Um, he'll be pretty happy with getting a win on that map. And lastly, we have Max versus Altingwerk. Um, does end in a draw. Altingwerk does get close on a rural world to take a bonus point, but Max did not take well at all to his own map of choice.
yeah, a bit of a shocker from Max here. I'm not even sure if this was then a choice or that it was also random, but
It was ninth
I
pick.
do. Sorry, it was his ninth pick. Okay, yeah. No, but still, I mean, like I'm not expecting this sort of results generally from Max. So yeah, I'm a little bit surprised to see that as well.
Yeah, well, let's look at the table for the week, and as we can see, Max's loss does drop him a spot. But overall, while everyone's moved, most people haven't moved a whole lot in
Yeah,
this
but Jake
table.
lost his top position.
Oh, of course. And we can see over here that finally his decision to go for an extra uh, an official uncommon world every week has made him lose out on the 25Ks, which is what helps Armand get to the top.
Absolutely, yeah. Because indeed, not getting 25Ks on that kind of maps um, may cost you in the end. And Arma already has 4, so that's quite a lot. And that brings him to the top at the moment. And yeah, we have to see how much longer Jake is able to keep doing what he's doing with that map, because that map is coming back until the end of the season, that's for sure. Um, but it seems like other people are starting to get the hand of it as well. So maybe it would be smart to change it.
Mhm.
uh, yeah. Actually, Seppo does get himself off of the bottom of the table, but it does seem rather close down there. So,
Yeah, that's actually quite interesting, because Soundbite did actually have a really good performance, as we just discussed, and against Laban Grab, and then still he dropped down to last position.
mhm. Well, as for week 5, the fixtures that we've got here, we've got Faraban in the Dominican Republic, going up against Seolfer in Chubut in Argentina. Honestly, not sure what I'd expect here.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
those
a
are
really interesting match
Mhm.
there.
two difficult maps at all in general. So like
Mhm.
Dominican Republic is not easy at all. Even though that, yeah, you only have basically 2 cities to choose from, but
Yeah.
where in those cities is going to be very, very difficult. And that province in Argentina is also extremely difficult and rural. Um, I mean, like, then I have to go back to what we know from the players, and then I know Faraban longer than Seover, and then I would lean towards Faraban here.
Hmm. Yeah. I just opened this thing up, and Chubut is like one of the empty provinces.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
pretty
is.
much.
Mhm. Next up, we have Lunacy Echo going for Tasmania, and he's up against the 59 soundbite with the home map of Scotland.
Yes, and
Oh.
apparently, which we did not know, and which Lunacy also did not know, but which was told afterwards, is that the soundbite has lived in Australia. So, and he said he did not live in Tasmania, but he has been there. So
Ah,
it's definitely something that can work in his favor here.
Oh.
yeah, we've got a bit of a spanner in the works for Lunacy, who will have to fight to maybe
Uh,
Mhm.
um, even get a
So
draw here.
I'm gonna go for the upset.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I mean, after what Mr. Blue said, I probably would go for 59 sounds.
Yeah, yeah. And we could finally see him getting out of the bottom of the table. Uh,
Yeah, for sure.
this week has played into his hands. Next up, we have Plucky going for Santiago de Chile, and he's up against Ottawa with Southern Europe. Uh, is
Oh,
I'm confused. What constitutes Southern Europe? Is it like
so
Iberian
yeah, it's
Peninsula?
yeah, it's pretty much the Iberian Peninsula, Italy and Greece, and like I
Ah,
think
Yeah,
sometimes they include Albania and Croatia too.
oh, okay.
yeah, something like that indeed. Yeah, in that sort of area, you have to think about it. Yeah, I mean, I would say Plucky would maybe be the favorite here. Ottawa is a good player, but he has not really. He's not seem he does not seem to be consistent enough in order to, yeah, to keep up with a player like Plucky. So yeah, I would go for Plucky here.
Mm.
Okay then. Um, Next we have Laban Greb going for Barcelona. and Seppo's opponent is going for a guessable world, which I'm just checking this real quick. Okay, it is moving.
Yeah, can go either way, to be honest. I would say that their level is pretty much equal in general, from what I can judge. And those two maps can be either way as well. So yeah, no idea what to expect from this one.
Yeah. Next, Armand, the new leader of the pack, is going
Oh,
for the Channel Islands. Uh, Apparently we need to disclose this, but it's the Channel Islands between UK and France.
oh, yeah. I was about to gonna say that are these the Californian ones or not?
Yeah, and Altingwook's opponent is also going for an islands map with Greek islands.
Oh, two island mashup here. Oh,
Yeah, interesting, huh?
Mm-hmm. Uh,
Whoever reads Greek is in
yeah,
the in favor.
and
yeah, true.
given that it was Altingwook's, okay, actually it was 11th choice, so um,
Uh, I guess he can maybe read it a little bit, but
yeah,
yeah, whoever can read it better is probably gonna be winning this.
yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
they're gonna have to brush up on their Greek. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Next up we have Teaser going with Second Cities up against Max in Norway. Uh,
Oh,
how how did Levan Greb not get that one? But uh, yeah.
Maybe he won it, or maybe,
Hmm.
was he higher in ranking than Max?
Uh, let's see. Weekly. Hmm. Oh wait, I gotta check like one. Okay, there. I've just accidentally opened up everything, but let's see.
no.
Where's Max on this list? It's a long list. Oh, Max was higher.
So that
Yeah.
clarifies the
Oh,
situation.
yeah, that explains it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So a missed opportunity there, I suppose. But we do have that, and yeah. Which way do you see this going, Druv?
Hmm. Oh, it's a tough one for me because like Max seems to be from Norway and
No.
he got
Hey, he's from Finland.
oh he's from Finland.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that makes it even more interesting. Well, you know what? Still, I'll probably go with Max. He might get it because I think the second city's map is not that hard if it's moving.
Yeah. It's what second largest city in each
Yeah,
region,
country, I think.
each
Yeah.
country. Okay. Yeah. I, I do think maybe I'm just remembering wrong, but I think Max isn't that great with urban maps. I I
Oh,
I know it's
okay.
one of the
I did not
Finns,
know that.
but
Yeah.
I know it's one of the Finns, but I don't remember who.
Uh-huh. Oh, okay.
Yeah, in general, I would indeed also maybe go for Max because we know him longer. But I mean, Teaser has started off quite well in this competition, so I would not be surprised if he wins this.
Hmm. And last up we have Nakira going for the Philippines. Jake. No surprise there. Official uncommon world yet
Oh,
again.
again.
Now, this is going to be an interesting one because I know that Nakiro is quite good in Philippines. I know that Jake has been training Philippines for different, like a competition in the French community as well. So that is an interesting matchup when it comes to that. Then Jake knows this map quite well, as we already know. But Nakiro is also someone who is quite good in no moving maps. So I can see this also be a draw, but I can also see this that one of the two actually manages to win it. And yeah, it's really difficult to tell which one of the two is going to win it.
Yeah, after we got close to an upset this week. Maybe next week we could finally see one.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
That's definitely possible. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, let's move on to the results for Division 4. We have Bitlympics pulling off a win. Unfortunately, Connor did not play this week.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what happened there, to be honest. Still haven't heard from him. I mean, like the week before that, he also missed the deadline, but then he played afterwards, and this time he did not. And I just hope that he will not do the same thing as what the other guy did, Bear the Polyglot. Um, if he does, then we have to find another replacement again. But yeah,
Oh,
hopefully that's not gonna happen.
yeah, let's hope he comes back.
Yeah. Next up, we have another urban matchup. We have actually, yeah, we have Edward taking the win, gets a win in Silhet as he has discovered he's pretty good at playing in, and he also picks up a win in Renato's home map,
No,
Banska Bystrica. No? Oh, did I flip it around?
no, it's a draw.
It's a draw.
So
Okay, I
she
got
wins
that
her
bit
home
right.
match. She
I
wins her
flipped
home
it.
match, and he wins in Siliad, indeed, because he is
Yeah,
the Siliad man after he took that map a few weeks ago.
yeah.
Um, and she is from there, from that city, and she managed to 25k it
Okay.
quicker than him, and therefore she wins that map. Uh,
Mm. Okay.
he is the one picking up the bonus point, not she.
Ah, okay. Yeah, that's the
Mhm.
mistake I made then. Yeah. Uh, Edward does take a bonus point out of that. Um, yeah, I don't think that was a surprise then. Uh,
Yeah, no.
not really much at all.
No,
Next,
this was to be expected, I
yeah,
guess, indeed. Yeah.
yeah. Next we have Paranoid Android pulling off a win against Gigas and Michael.
Yeah,
Um,
two very close matches to be honest.
yeah,
So Michael ended up with nothing at all,
Mhm.
which may be a bit unfortunate for him because like in both matches, the score difference was not that big.
yeah. What's that like? 150 points off.
Yeah, just about that. Like he could have got a bonus point too if we didn't lose these points.
Yeah. Um, Next we have Peshtetli up against Hedikmi, and Peshtetli did not win in Switzerland. It does end in a
Yeah,
draw, but surprising result there, I think.
absolutely.
Hmm.
But then he wins in Ghana, so
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah.
with a very good score by the way. So
yeah.
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah,
Was
it's a
that
very good
5,000
score for
points?
Ghana.
Yeah. Next, Calamity versus Sepp Kirst ends in a draw, but Se Sepp Kirst did not like North Macedonia at all.
no,
Uh,
that's quite a shocker indeed.
hmm but Calamity did get close to picking up a bonus point. Um, with the slums, favelas, and shantytowns map, but not quite there.
Yeah, maybe a bit unfortunate indeed because that is generally in areas where it's difficult to pinpoint. So
Yeah, to even
that
move
you,
around sometimes.
yeah, so that you can come that close to a bonus point is maybe a little bit unfortunate there for him as well. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in fact, getting anything above like 24-5 is already an admirable score, so that's
Yeah, yeah, sure,
not a bad
sure, for sure.
performance.
No.
Yeah, well, next up, Jack versus Clemens. We've got the Austrian matchup, and it ends in a draw. Um,
as we expecting here.
yep.
Oh,
I mean, I suppose that was expected from the beginning. Jack did play another Albanian map a few weeks ago, and Clemens going for this map I guess also for a reason. So yeah, I was expecting that to happen.
Yeah. Jack played the Albanian map last week.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
In Skoda, wasn't it? So
Yeah. Yeah. Um. So yeah, that's not too bad. The two players at the top of the table. And last up we have Hugo versus Ordboker. Again, another tie. Um,
Uh,
nothing really of note here, just as expected.
no. Yeah, surely gonna win a South American map.
well, yeah, okay, yeah, that's for sure. But I would still expect a bit more from him.
Yeah,
I mean,
Yeah.
21K is not that much, but yeah. Other than
he could
that,
have been a bit better.
also in the world
First
map, I
moment.
might have expected a bit more from Hugo. Uh, so
Yeah, I
maybe
mean,
he did
they
not.
came really close there, but yeah, still a good win from
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
our,
No, that's true.
our
That's true. But
yeah,
Hugo is a player who scores generally quite high in world maps. So
yeah,
um,
that's true, that's
I
true.
am not sure about that. But yeah, in general, a fair and easy draw, I guess.
Yeah. Um, as for the standings, as they've turned out, Paranoid does get to the top of the table with the win. Dropping
Mm,
Jack and Clemens, they drew, but they um only dropped one spot each, the second and third. Um, yeah, of the entire table, only Pashetli and Calamity
mm,
keep their spots.
Yeah, Paranoid is doing a good job here. I mean, he is also in Reddit League, but he's there under another name, Sky Blue, and he struggled a bit there. But maybe this kind of format suits him better, and he's doing quite well.
Hmm. Actually, we do see Bitlympic. Uh, do I have this down wrong? Bitlympic didn't make that big. Didn't have a jump, did he? Uh, but anyways,
Say, can you repeat what you said? Sorry.
I think Bitlympics didn't move.
Yes, he did. Because
Okay,
he was like, really low in the rankings, but because
yeah.
Connor didn't play,
mm.
Of
he moved.
course. Okay. I've just had him. I just have him down wrong with a loss instead of a win. I think. I have to see
And
about that.
the other thing that we can mention here is that the highest total score so far is only in 10th place, which is quite unique, I would say.
Hmm.
Mm.
Yeah. With the Renata.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. We can definitely see the score difference coming into play a lot more here then.
Yeah.
Uh. Yeah. Well. As for the fixtures for next week, we have Clemens going with his own map of Austrian squares. And Ortboka has gone for Geodetective World, which, as we've seen before,
Mm.
is a pretty guessable
Yeah.
map.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
based on that, you would have to go for Clemens.
Yeah. Uh,
Mm.
over two.
I
Next.
was gonna
Yeah. Sorry.
I was gonna say for some reason I was thinking like Art might do a bit better. I don't know why. I mean, it's his map, like Clement's map, but I don't know. I just had a weird feeling about it. I just wanted
Mm-hmm.
to put it out there.
Okay then. Next we have Beshetli going with Basel in
Mhm.
Switzerland. He's gonna hope he has a better round in Switzerland than last time.
How do you pronounce
Oh,
that?
Basel.
gosh.
You said Basel or something like that?
I
Oh,
honestly don't know. I
Basel.
Basel. Okay.
Basel. Oh, it's more like basil.
Yeah. I'm guessing I'm pronouncing it like the basil plant or something.
Uh,
Uh, okay, Basel. But Hugo's opponent has gone for the home map of Chile. He's not going to be a pushover there for sure.
Yeah. Sadly lost in Switzerland this week, so maybe he will do it again. I don't know.
mm,
uh, but in general, you would expect a draw in this matchup.
mm. Oh, you
Yeah.
think it's gonna be a draw?
Yeah,
Um,
sadly from Switzerland in Switzerland against Hugo from Chile
uh,
in Chile.
Chile to Chile. Yeah, that could be it. Maybe like somehow Hugo outperforms him in Switzerland, or maybe vice versa. I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah. As I said, like
Could
because
happen.
he lost this week in his own country, so why
Mhm.
not again?
Yeah.
Okay then. Next up, Hidikmi has gone for the Mississippi River. And
Ooh.
Sepkist is on all the places you will go, which I believe is just a random map of urban locations or something.
I think it's just like any map, like just a
Yeah.
world map. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Mm.
So yeah, that is a map or like a matchup where you can, yeah, it can go either way. I mean, like I don't think any of them is specifically good in the US, and the other one is just a world map, as we said. So difficult to predict this one, to be honest.
Mm.
Next up, we have Renata going with the Czech Republic, up against Calamity in Bolivia. I'm I don't know how he'd do in Bolivia, but the but Czechia should be a bit of a sort of a home advantage for Renata.
Yeah, I
That's,
guess.
I guess that's the reason why she chose it.
Mm.
But
Mhm.
I do know that Calamity is really good in Bolivia, so that is definitely not going to be easy at all.
No.
Czech Republic in general is not that difficult, so yeah, I would go for Calamity here.
Okay.
Mm.
Next we have Edward going with, I want to say Xanthi in Greece. Uh,
Probably.
and Michael has gone for another urban map, this time in his home country of Ireland, with 5 urban locations. I
Yeah.
um I think I'd
This
favor
would
Michael
be
on this.
um yeah, I'd probably go with Michael too, because actually like the city of Zante is quite not that big and it's quite pinpointable actually, being a Greek city. And I mean it's Ireland, so that's gonna be quite easy for him, I guess. Yeah, I'll probably go with Michael.
Yeah, depends on how well they train and how much their knowledge is, because like
Mm,
indeed Zanti is small, but it is, you need to have a look through it and to understand it as well. First of all, it's in Greek as well, of course, so you need to
mhm,
know to understand also a little bit of the language, I guess, or just simply walk through the city and memorize a lot of things.
mhm,
So training comes in hand, and like Michael definitely knows Ireland, of course, because he is from there. But how well does Edward from the UK know Ireland? Maybe also quite a lot. So yeah, I do not know about this one.
Mm. Next we have Bitlympics going for Prussia, hoping to get the German rounds there. And his opponent, Paranoid, have gone for Burgenland in Austria. I He's gonna hope that Bitlympics maybe doesn't know it that well, but I don't know how much
mhm.
that's gonna come into
Maybe
play.
maybe he hopes that Bitlimpy doesn't speak German.
Oh,
I don't know. But
I
no,
mean, oh,
yeah, I would favor Bitlimpy for this one because of the fact that they're both maps where yeah German is spoken. So
Yeah,
mhm.
and as a
yeah,
I
German,
think Prussia's gonna still include quite a bit of, I guess, Poland.
yeah,
yeah,
and also
Mhm.
Kaliningrad and a little bit
Oh
of
yeah,
Lithuania, but still, I mean, like, yeah,
oh yeah, sure, sure, sure.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, I actually don't know what's gonna happen here, but yeah, I'll maybe go with Paranoid here. It's just a random guess.
Okay. I'm gonna have to favor Bitlympics on this one. Like Mr. Blue mentioned, yeah, as a German, he's gonna find this pretty easy, I think.
Oh,
And last up, we have Connor going with Uganda, Jack with Slovenia. Um, yeah,
yeah. So first of all, we have to hope that he is gonna play
yeah,
Connor, and if he does, then
Mm.
I don't think that he stands a chance here.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I would stick with Mr. Blue here too.
Hmm. In any case, let's move on to the first of our Division 5s. Here we have Druv, you getting a win over Pingvin.
Oh,
Uh,
Did
yeah.
you win? What?
oh. Yeah, I mean, I sometimes win. Yeah. Yeah, it was a really interesting map. The interesting photosphere, of course, it's in the name. I think we had some Afghanistan rounds and some other obscure countries, of course. It was quite an interesting round in general.
So what gave you the edge? Like landscape knowledge, or what do you think?
Oh yeah, I had a crazy guess in Afghanistan. I was like I think I was 2 miles away from the exact location, 2 or 3 miles.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, looks like that definitely helped you out there. And a pretty decisive win on both the maps, with 4,000 and 7,000 each. Which is definitely going to help with your score difference.
Yeah, I'm wondering
Yeah.
because I can't remember. I think I checked it, but I can't remember what Penguin did wrong on the Atlantic Ocean map, because that's quite a big difference.
Yeah. Next up we have Finn picking up a win against Rafa. Um, although it was pretty close in with the Czech train stations, and Rafa was also close to a bonus point. Only what 20? Yeah, exactly 20 more points, and he would have a bonus point there.
Yeah, indeed. And also with the other map, he didn't really have that much of a score difference either. So maybe a little bit unlucky for him. Like Finn in Britain, I guess he was supposed to win that one. And that Czech seed, I tried to do my best in it, and it was quite a hard one to be honest. So, um, like, I'm not really sure whether that map or that seed was more difficult than the map in general is, because as I said before, Czech Republic is not so hard to play, but this seed in general was not easy at all.
Mm.
So I'm not surprised that the score is low there.
Okay then. Next, we have Biquet getting a perfect score on the Seine River against Radox, but it does end up as a draw overall. Uh,
Yeah, Radok was never gonna pinpoint that one, 25k,
mhm.
because that's not what he's good at. So I was not surprised to see that. Um, but he does take the edge in Russia, even though it's by a small margin and a low score, but still enough to make it a draw.
Yeah. Next up, we've got Flapper versus Noisel. Ends in a draw, but um, actually Flapper not doing well at all on an AI Gen world there.
Indeed, yeah. It
Oh.
seems like Flapper is better at urban than at rural. Let's say it like that.
Mm-hmm. He is relatively new to the competition, having joined later, so I guess we'll still sort of see what he's good at and
I
where.
guess the first conclusion that we can make, but I mean,
Yeah,
it
yeah,
doesn't really, or first indication. Let's say it like that. And not conclude anything yet, but yeah,
yeah.
we have
Uh,
to see how that develops.
mhm.
Mhm.
Next we have Lord Pepsi against GB. They win on their own maps, as you'd expect. Pepsi does get the perfect score in Subotica, and GB gets close, but not quite a perfect score in Sweden. Um,
Say this was indeed to be expected like
yeah,
this.
you can tell they both did very well on their own maps, and maybe and not very well on their opponents. So, uh,
Yeah,
not a surprise at
Yeah.
all here.
Yeah.
Um, well, next up, we've got Timon versus M. Wickham. M. Wickham getting so close to a perfect score in Finland.
Oh,
He does get the win, but I mean, you don't get extra points for perfect scores, so maybe he only loses maybe on the weekly order spots.
Timon benefits here from the fact that he actually is working on a Hungarian map, and that was the reason why he chose it. And he has definitely learned from that, as you can see in the score. And then and Wickham in his home country, then obviously that is to be expected. The seed itself was not so hard because it was a handpicked seed from 5 urban locations, and Orpheus is the one that actually made that seed, and he put all the locations next to hospitals. So when you figured out what the city was, it was not that hard to find out where you were located. But
mm.
I guess Timon did not find the theme there, and
Oh,
did not manage to do it. Yeah.
Yeah. Next we have Curtis versus Sausage Ripe. Sausage Ripe does get an easy win on Wowie, and
oh,
closer win in the UAE, and yeah,
Still easy.
wait, what is the Wabi map?
I think it's just a general world map or something like that.
It is.
Oh,
I believe I checked it last time, and the description was urban locations around the world can be easy, can be hard. That's it.
that's a pretty good general overview for a map, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
In any case, that win is going to push Sausage Wipe up the tables into
Someone else
sixth.
in third place as well. Who's that?
Oh yeah.
oh, that sounds like a familiar name.
Uh-huh. Uh yeah, Druv, you're up into third place. GB and Radox keep their top spots despite draws this week. Yeah. Uh, Not much to say here, actually. There's a lot of movement, but movement that you'd expect with all the wins and losses going around.
Yeah,
Mhm,
Sausage Wipe is someone that might climb up in the next couple of weeks because I do
mhm.
think that he is a good player. I'm not saying that the other ones are not good players, but I do think that he is one of the better ones out there, even though that he did not really have luck in the first couple of weeks. But now that he has one win, I am expecting him uh, to bring in a few more wins. Um,
Actually, we do have a bit of an upset that I've just noticed. Finn's win against Rafa does get Finn out of the bottom spot, but Rafa was up in the top four last week, I believe.
yes,
So,
yes.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah, that drops him a
okay,
fair
that's
bit.
taking him down quite a bit.
It has. Um, as for the fixtures for next week, we have GB going up against Rafa on an urban world. And Rafa has gone for Mexican islands over here.
Hmm.
Which way do you
Yeah,
see that going?
difficult to call for me. Like JB has been doing quite well lately, and Rafa, as you said, was in a high in the in the table as well, but has dropped down a bit now. But he is also good at smaller maps, and Mexican islands is not like a small area because like they're quite widespread, but there's
Yeah.
not many islands to choose from. So if you
Mhm.
train that, you can be quite good at it. So he might take advantage of that. Otherwise, I would have to lean towards Jibby here.
Yeah, I might lean towards Jibby too here because he might, if he practices the Mexican Islands map for a while, he probably gets the hang of it. There are not many, Mexican islands, as Mr. Blue just said, and pretty sure he's gonna do pretty well. Both of them are gonna do pretty well at an urban world, so I'll probably lean more towards Jibby.
Okay then. Next up we have Pingvin going with the Whistler River. Uh, I don't Is that the one that goes through Czechia and I think Poland as well?
Sure, through Poland, yes. I'm not really sure if it goes through Czechia as well, but
Okay.
through Poland for sure.
Okay, well, that should give him a home advantage there against Radox, who also has the home advantage with Switzerland.
Finally, because he's been chasing that map for like a few weeks now, and he didn't get it, but now he gets it, and this smells like a draw to me.
Hmm. Yeah, and we'll see if Radox can hope to uh, keep a spot higher in the table with that. Next, we have Finn going with Vlore in Albania. I don't know how you pronounce that, but there you go. And his opponent, Flapper, has gone for Serbia. Both Balkan maps.
Oh,
True,
that's
one of them in a Cyrillic-speaking country, or at least partially. So that can
mhm.
definitely benefit Flapper. Uh, yeah, and otherwise I do not know. So I'm gonna go for Flapper here.
Mm, yeah, I would probably go for Flapper too here. This
Honestly,
Finn does struggle quite a bit with Cyrillic, so he might not stand a chance against Flapper in Serbia. So
okay,
like Flapper just has to, colonize a little bit on the Albanian map, and it's a city, so that might be easy for him.
okay
Yep.
then. Next, Druv, you have gone for Civilization Alphabet X, which should be pretty
Oh,
interesting. And
yeah.
yeah, you're up against Lord Pepsi in Nixtage. I I've forgotten how you pronounce it, but that's not an easy city.
Yeah, true, true.
hmm
What are
Uh,
you expecting, Drew?
Um, I think I'll be pretty good with the Alphabet X map. I practiced it like for 2 or 3 games, and most of the time I just got the city, like I think Xenia in Ohio, and then some Brazilian cities in like southern part and the southern part of Brazil, and Jalapa, I think, in Mexico. So there's just like a couple, towns which are like Native American town names which start with an X. It's pretty unusual letter, for your
Yeah,
town to
so
be
there's not
starting
that
from. So
many options indeed.
yeah,
So I would say that's fairly trainable to find out what
yeah.
city you can expect there. Um, so yeah, but in Montenegro, you're not gonna have an easy task against someone
No,
from
no,
there.
no, not at all.
So that's probably gonna be a draw, in my opinion. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Mr. Blue, you and I have already seen what Montenegro can do. So,
Yeah,
Oh,
I would say the city Podgorica wasn't so difficult, but
yeah.
I don't know about next siege to be honest. So
Mm,
uh, Podgorica was definitely playable because I 25k that one anyway. Uh, but just the country itself is quite hard to play. Unfortunately, also a lot of broken coverage, which
mm,
also can be not nice. But okay, that kind of thing we normally filter out anyway. But yeah,
yeah.
it is hard to train sometimes as well.
Mhm. And I think Nixich actually has some very large borders, so you could end up with some more rural rounds around there.
oh.
Um, Next we have Noisel going for a complete world against M. Wickham, who has gone for Wales.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Uh,
interesting matchup. Um, I gotta go with some experience here, and then I go for Noisel.
okay then. Uh, I mean, I know these players, but I don't know how they do on these maps.
Yeah, and that is difficult. I mean, like Complete World is obviously a world map, and Noisel has been playing in Reddit League for a few years. So based on that, I would say that he is maybe the favorite. In Wales, I cannot judge that. Um, and Wickham, we know from Formula G, where he has been in the bottom half most of the time. Uh, but so far in this competition, he's doing quite well. So yeah, it's difficult to judge how that's gonna go. But based on what I can see here, I would go for Neusel.
Yeah. Next, we have Curtis going for Bermuda. And the opponent Piquet is in the Arabian Peninsula. Two very opposite maps, I'd say.
Absolutely.
Yeah, indeed.
And hard to tell what to expect from it as well. Like from these
Mm.
players on these maps. Yeah, I don't know. I cannot tell you
Yeah,
anything.
this would be really interesting because the maps are quite, different in terrain for sure. When Atlantic Island and the whole of Arabian Peninsula. I mean, we don't have that much coverage in it, but still, you go Israel, Jordan, and the UAE. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see who gets the win there.
Yeah, Arabian Peninsula is mainly UAE.
Mhm.
I mean, there is a few options, but that's mostly tracker anyway. So yeah, I would
Mhm.
say that the Arabian Peninsula is mostly UAE. Bermuda is yeah, difficult to play because it doesn't happen very often that people play that map. So I guess it's kind of trainable as well if you wanted to give it a try. But it's definitely not easy to do it because it has a lot of trackers as well. Not that they will show up in this competition, but if you want to train, you do come across them a lot as well. So you will either have to skip them or you will learn those as well at the same time.
Well, last up we've got Diamond with a divisional world.
Oh,
I don't actually know what that map entails, but
yeah, that's a new name for me too.
It's like
Division.
locations bordering all sorts of uh, divisions, like states or provinces or
Oh,
that sort of thing.
okay.
Yeah.
okay.
So there's only borders,
Uh-huh.
border
That would
locations.
be a really interesting map actually, because most of the times, like these kind of towns, like let's say Flin Flon or whatever, which have be on like the border, they usually have, signs that you're entering this thing and
Yeah.
leaving that.
And his opponent, Sausage Wipe, is in Niš in Serbia. So yeah, one urban map which they might find fairly easy, and the other is, I mean, you basically know you're on a border, so that's not. I wouldn't say that's going to be too hard once you figure out what actual
Yeah.
divisions you're
Yeah,
in
it
there.
just shouldn't be that hard to be honest from my perspective.
But it's the second Russian playing in Serbia this week, so that's gonna be
Oh,
interesting as well. So both Flapper and Sausage play in Serbia. Um, as again, like Cyrillic might be helping him. I do think that Timon does understand Cyrillic. I'm not 100% sure about that, to be honest, but I think he does. So it's not that much of an issue, maybe.
But still, I
So
would believe Sausage might have still a slight higher advantage
I
there.
think so too. Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
Okay then. Uh, let's move on to Division 5B. Where first up we have Valentin Rebia getting a win against Le Temps. A bit of an upset there actually. Le Temps was second on the rankings last week, and yeah, Valentin's perfect score in Luxembourg really helps him get that win there.
Yeah, still kind of close, but also still sort of comfortable. So yeah, good job to him. Philippines City, okay, definitely trainable. And Luxembourg, not the hardest country. So yeah, difficult to say what caused this to happen like this, but I guess that we have to say that's just a very good job by Valentin here.
Well, next up we have Ankromako versus Afi. Both of them winning on their opponent maps again. We don't see that all too often, but Afi just missing on the perfect score.
Oh,
on Anchormaco's map.
just a point.
Yeah, that's not a difficult map in general, I would say.
Mhm.
Yeah, a lot of large places that you have to go through. So it's quite easy to figure out where you are, I think. And the other one was what? Okay, urban locations in South Africa. Yeah, that should not be too hard either, and that's what Uncle Mako is then proving. But then Avi had some issues with that, so yeah, interesting to see that.
Mm.
Yeah. Next we have Bombadil versus Arca. Uh, I've just noticed we have like 4 Frenchmen in a row here, but yeah,
Oh,
Bombadil does lose. He got close in Greater Ireland, but still 500 points off. But did not take too well to Manaus at all.
Mhm.
And doesn't even break 10,000 points there.
Oh.
Yeah, and I think that Arga did train Manaus,
Mhm.
and
And it
Bombadil
shows.
probably,
Mhm.
and Bombadil probably did not at all.
Yeah.
So then you get that sort of location, sort of score, and then yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, still both
Then
players are doing pretty good in Ireland.
Yeah, both of them over 24,000, so that's
yeah,
um
Mhm.
so
not
it's,
bad
it's
scores.
good job for
Mhm.
both there in that case. But yeah, then the Manaus map is going to show
Yeah,
the
it's still the Manaus
or is
one.
going to make the difference in this case. Yeah.
Uh, Next we have Dakabaka versus Jenna Harrison, and Jenna gets the win very easily here. Dakabaka not doing well at all on either of these
Yeah.
maps.
No, but he
Mm.
apparently was busy with school and he did not have any time and he just rushed through the seats here,
Hmm.
uh, just in order to avoid anything like penalties or whatsoever. So yeah, he just wanted to get it done. But then obviously that doesn't work for your good for your scores.
Yeah. Uh, so Jenna should will be taking the win there. Next up, Koala Wizard gets a win against Dad City.
Mm.
Very close on both the maps actually.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah. I
indeed.
just
Very
noticed that.
unlucky not to have a bonus point here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's that? 300 points off in Nebraska and 400 in Volos. So
Mm.
yeah, missed opportunity there. Um, for Daj. Next up we have Wakelock in Anglesey in Wales. Picks up the win, while Jugger is just off of a perfect score. With Civilization Alphabet.
Yeah, I think that Wakeluk should be a bit disappointed here with himself because like winning your home map is one thing, but scoring 22,000 on a map like a world map where you can already know the letter of your city, yeah, you should maybe do better there to be honest. So
Mm.
he might be a bit unhappy with himself there. Other than that, it's probably a sort of expected draw, I guess, because we know Jogier and him both from Reddit League, and I would say that they're kind of equal in skills. So yeah, when it comes to that, I would be okay with a draw between the two of them.
Hmm. And lastly, over here we have Kiribati getting a win against Holzkopf. Um, I guess the 5 random countries for Kiribati were ones he was perfectly fine with.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
yeah, this isn't any surprise for me because I actually was practicing with Kiribati in Uruguay and Laos, so he was like actually really good at them. And he got his home country of Sweden, of course.
yeah, maybe expected, but it's still easier than I expected it to be. So
Mhm.
yeah, no, he did a really good job there.
Okay, and here's how the standings have turned out. Um, Holzkopf, despite the loss, does keep his position down there. But the main thing here, Leton drops from second on the table, and we have Valentin Rebier and Jenna Harrison jumping up into those promotion spots.
And Guelo having 2 points clear over the rest, of course, is also important to know.
I think we are seeing probably our favorite for winning the division, sort of solidifying his position up there.
Yeah, and Dakapaka will have to do something more than rushing through the seats if he wants to leave the last place.
Of course. Well, for week 5 here at the fixtures, Le Temps versus Arga, another French matchup. Le Temps is in Luxembourg.
For the second week in a row.
Yeah.
And he lost the first one, so interesting to see what's going to happen this time. Obviously, he did not know the result of the first time he had Luxembourg when he picked the second time Luxembourg, but yeah, interesting to see how that's going to go. And a hard world is actually a hard world. I played that map and it's like not easy at all. So yeah, good luck with that one.
Okay. Next up, we have Ankomako versus Jakapaka. Ankomako is in Obihiro in Japan, and Jakapaka has gone for Tropical Rainforest Belt.
Oh, that would be interesting.
I think I'd favor Ankomako on this one.
Absolutely, me as well. Even if Dakapaka is not rushing it, I am definitely favoring Ankamako here as well. Because I think he knows Japanese, or at least
I
he
think he
understands it.
does. I mean,
Yeah, I think he does too.
And
So
tropical rainforest belt is also to his liking, so definitely favoring Ankamako here.
yeah, I'll be with you guys here as well. Manka.
okay. Next up, we have Valentin Rebier going with Thimphu in Bhutan. And Dad City is going for South African cities, both urban maps here.
Yeah, and I know that Rabia trains, whereas I think Dutch also does it, but maybe not as much. So in that case, I would maybe have to go for Valentin Rabia.
Yeah, and given his performance last week, I mean this week, but yeah, I think I'd favor Valentin for the win here.
Yeah, I do too.
Next we have Joger versus Jeune. Joger is on the Iberian Peninsula, and Jeune has gone for Osh in Kyrgyzstan, so he's gonna hope Joger doesn't know Cyrillic.
I guess that's what he's trying to do.
Could be.
Yeah, that's a really specific city he chose there, and in contrast to, the Iberian Peninsula, where it's, quite easier to find signage and get a perfect score. Are you in a really good score?
Yeah, and I mean, like Joguer is not a bad player, and he's been doing quite okay in Reddit League, for instance. But Jeune has been doing quite good so far in this competition. I did not know him from before, but he is doing quite well, and I do know that he also practiced quite a lot. So maybe I should go for him here.
Okay. Next, Bombadil is going for worldwide stadiums and other venues, and Hoskop has gone for an unusual world.
So we have a team map and an MPZ map. So that's going to be quite an interesting matchup here, which probably can go either way.
Yeah.
Because I don't, I mean, like worldwide stadiums and other venues is like a sports map, and Bombadil chose that, so I guess he is familiar with this kind of locations. Then Holzkopf is from Germany, which is also quite a sports-minded nation, so he probably, well, he's likely to also know a little bit about it at least. So I would not underestimate him for that kind of location. and an unusual world, NAPZ. He chose that for a reason, so maybe we should go for him here.
It is a random pick actually.
Oh,
So
sorry, my
Oh,
bad, my bad. In that case, it can go indeed either way.
yeah.
it could go either way. I'll probably say it might be a draw here.
Hmm. Yeah. Uh, we'll have to see about that. Next we
Mm-hmm.
have Kiribati going for Iceland, and Afi is going for Israel instead. Uh,
Oh,
uh, if anything, that's the one I'm most looking forward to because I have no idea how that's going to turn out.
Yeah,
yeah, exactly.
same. Iceland probably should be for Kiribati.
Mm-hmm.
Even though Afi, I don't know. I mean, like he is also playing in this French community, so he might actually be able to play that
Mm-hmm.
quite well as well. And Israel
Yeah.
is just hard in general, like, because the language. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, like there's definitely also signs in English, but not always, not everywhere. So
Yeah, no, no, not
find
always.
if you cannot find your way around, then it's gonna be very difficult.
Yeah, that was a random
Mm-hmm.
pick for Afi, so maybe not what they were hoping for there.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
From my personal experience, I might lean more towards Kiribati because he's pretty good at like Israel as well as I.
Oh, is he? How do you know?
I have played with him like for a while, so I think yeah, I'll lean towards Kiribati here.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense in that case.
Hmm. And last up, for the week we have Guala Wizard on a coastal world against Wakelock going for the home advantage in Wakefield,
Oh,
a city I can tell you I have never heard about until today.
Wakefield.
Well, I
I,
heard about it until a few days ago when he
mhm,
picked it. Um, I I did not know where this. I mean, like Wakefield in general, I've heard of, but I did not know where or which specific Wakefield there
mhm,
is because I think there's a couple of Wakefields in the world. But
Yeah,
mhm,
um, yeah, this one in particular, I was also not very much aware of. So I suppose he might be from there. Just my
mhm.
guess.
Yeah, he
Um,
could be.
yeah.
yeah. I
So then he should be winning that one. Um,
Mhm.
and
Yeah,
Guelo Wizard in general, I would favor him. So I guess a draw for this one.
yeah.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah. I would go. I would stick with you guys at draw.
Wakefield seems to be a pretty small town, so
Mhm.
it's also possible that maybe we end up with two perfect scores in Wakefield. It all comes
Oh,
down to time or distance.
yeah, that would be really interesting to see though here, because it's his if it's his hometown, he might be like really quick there. Um, yeah, but we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, we will. That's gonna do it for this week. Drew, thank you for coming on the show,
Oh, my pleasure.
and yeah, we'll be back next week to see how these results turn out.
Yeah, looking forward to that again.
See you guys.